What's up, everyone? Okay, please explain approach tones. Okay, I'm getting bombarded with questions already. Okay, where's everybody from, first of all? Because I'm curious on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time where people in the world are. I see Frankfurt there. I see Mississippi. Where is everybody from? Just out of curiosity. Because, and who's a new, and write new if you're a new subscriber here too. Netherlands, Bristol, Norway, Canada, England, Nebraska, Brazil. We're getting, and we got Prague, we got Edinburgh, we've got St. Petersburg, Paraguay, we got Hartford, Pakistan. Okay, so any of these questions that you want to ask me about any of these things, we're gonna talk about. Okay, before we get started, I always do this, or I don't always do this, but I do it on a lot of these live streams. I do a couple live streams a week. I put my book on sale and my courses on sale. That's how I make a living, basically, so I can bring you guys content for free. So I have a 30% off my Beato book, and the code is EM251. That's like everything music, EM251. That's also the coupon code for my Beato Academy of Music. What's up, Peter Smarts? How are you, Peter? I was going to call you today. So 40% off my courses, my two courses, Advanced Harmonic Concepts and Mastering Modes on the Major Scale. Both coupon codes are the same, EM251. So, anyway, so that's it. I know we have a lot of new subscribers. I just looked it up. I've had 28,285 new subscribers in the last 28 days. So a lot of you are probably new subscribers, or some of you are new subscribers, even though I recognize a lot of the regulars here. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put the coupon code here. EM251. Coupon code. That'll be good for 24 hours. That's it. After that, gone. Back up to the full price. That's what I do for people that tune in here. Okay, so my channel, for those of you that just joined, my channel is actually advanced music theory, composition. I call it everything music because it deals with, modern classical music, music analysis, jazz improvisation, all different types of things, talking about the music industry, film scoring, everything. So, but I've made my living as a producer for 25 years, which is funny because I've never been able to figure out how to make production videos. And this new series, What Makes This Song Great, is my entree for or my I don't know. It's my first stab at making any production videos. You've been out all day, Peter. So, anyways, so I'm this idea of trying to I guess you would say, pull back the curtain on what goes into making a song. Now, I keep getting the same comments all the time that I don't ever answer because I answer them, but people never go and read down the comments when they comment. You cannot solo a track with a plugin. There's no shortcut to soloing tracks when I'm doing these videos unless you have the tracks. So I have these tracks. Some of them are 24 tracks. Some of them are stems that were taken. When I say stems, a stem is essentially this, and I explained it on my last video if you haven't seen it yet, but a stem is basically when people would finish a mix of any type of a song with vocals, usually, They would do guitar up, or not guitar up. Well, yeah, they do guitar up and down, bass up and down. You usually end up doing probably about 15 different mixes, including instrumentals. But one of the main ones would be vocal up a dB, vocal up 2 dBs, vocal down a dB, so that you wouldn't have to do recalls, because recalls take a lot of time. Producers would would also print stems. So they would take the stereo mix of the drums, of the drums, usually the overheads and room mics. They would then they do a stereo mix of the toms, a stereo mix of the snare, and stereo mix of the kick. The reason they do the stereo mixes of these is because they have effects on them, and you want to hear the effects in stereo. And they typically will go through the mix bus when they're doing it, meaning the bus compressor on the output of the mixing console in the past. Virtually every song that I've talked about, other than the Bruno Mars, was done on tape, because they're all, anything done before, that's not true. The Linkin Park track from Meteor was definitely done into Pro Tools. That was on the transition point. The first Linkin Park record, I think, was done onto tape. All the rest were done on tracks. But when you're talking about Steely Dan, obviously, or if you're talking about Nirvana and Pearl Jam, those were all done to tape. So anyways, so the things that you're hearing are if they are stems, the vocals are going to be in the stem, the lead vocals with their effects on them. And the people would bounce these down. They'd bounce down this bass in stereo, the guitars in stereo, and any, ancillary parts, percussion, background vocals, things like that. You might have, for a modern song, you might have probably, you could have 20 stems. For an old track, you'll have many less, because you typically only have 24 tracks. And many times the stems, or the reason for using the stems in the old days was that instead of doing a recall that would typically take about an hour and a half to set up an SSL for a recall, meaning setting all the channels, all the EQ settings, all the compressor settings, everything back to where it was, because people take notes. For an assistant engineer to take notes on a professional major label mix, it would take usually 2 to 3 hours. They would take hand notes in a notebook for everyone. What every reverb setting was, every preset that's been changed, the board, if it's done in an SSL, it saves to a floppy disk, and you have a computer monitor that you would turn the dials and it would tell you when you're in the right spot. So that's kind of how the stems work. And the reason they did the stems, and obviously Brett just said, film scores have hundreds of stems. And film scores have hundreds of stems because they use these stems constantly. So in film music, that's always been common, but it's actually been common in rock music too, in pop music. Stems have been common. If you want to change the vocals, let's say you want to go and change a line out. You'd go in and you take the stem and you could mute something if there's a curse word or something that you want to take out. So anyways, that's enough about that. There's no plugins. Okay, every other comment that I get on these videos is, where did you get these? How are you isolating the tracks? To isolate Larry Carlton's guitar solo on Kid Charlemagne, you have to have the track, okay? You have to have either the stems or the multi-tracks. How did I get the tracks sent to me? Dave just asked. So years and years ago, there was a... still, Stratcat, still. I know, you're funny, right? Years ago, people would send me these things. They would say, we'd trade things, hey, I've got blah, blah, blah. And I would say, hey, I've got something, and we would just trade things, A lot of time, most of the time, honestly, I wouldn't trade anything. People would just give me stuff, and I put them on drives, and the only time I would ever bring them out is before I'm making a record, because a lot of times, Tom, you can't believe people are asking about track separation. I know, right? We came up with all these terms on the live stream the other night on my other channel. So I had these things. So I would take these out. I remember I worked with this band Need to Breathe, and before their third record, I had all these stems, and I had all these multi-tracks that I made sessions of. And we would go through and we would listen to them, and they get psyched because they'd never heard these things before. You know, when you hear, you know, Spoon Man by Soundgarden soloed, or you hear a Beatles track, you know, with the you know, tracks, or you hear Angie by the Stones, or you hear, you know, whatever, things that you've never heard before. It sounds amazing. I mean, it's cool, you know. And there's a lot to be learned. And so that's why I wanted to answer some questions. Like, one of the questions was, what's up, Hassan? One of the questions was, what's the difference between production and mixing? Well, typically mixing in the old days was done by the engineer and the producer. They wouldn't have dedicated mixers. They didn't have dedicated mixers really until the 80s. Then you started getting people. It'd be like a relief pitcher in baseball. You started getting people that would be specialists that would come in. Bob Clearmountain was one of the first people that was a specialist as a mixer. I mean, if you look at records back in the 80s, for example, like Daniel Lanois, who's one of my favorite producers that I've done nothing. I've not talked about him at all, and he's literally one of my favorite producers. So he produced the So record. He did U2 Unforgettable Fire. Then he did the So Peter Gabriel. And then he did Joshua Tree, right all back to back. 84, 85, 86, those three records right back to back. And he would, the two U2 records he co-produced with Brian Eno. But he was the engineer as well, and he would mix them down. So that was typical of the time. Daniel Lanois is a consummate musician. He's a phenomenal pedal steel player. He's a phenomenal guitar player, and he's a sonic. He knows how to create sonic landscapes just like Brian Eno does, and I will be getting to them. One of the things I wanted to announce today too is that next Sunday I'm going to be doing a pay-per-view live stream, 2-hour live stream on music production, where I'm going to be doing a live What Makes This Song Great and playing songs that I couldn't play on here. Okay? So you can purchase it. You can sign up for it. It's $10. It's like buying an album. Sign up for it. I'm going to have people who can ask questions while I'm talking about things, but these I'll be playing things that I can't really play in here. Max Martin tracks, things like that. And people will can ask questions through the Beato Music Academy. Through my Beato Music Forum. If you go to forum.rickbeato.com, not tomorrow, Roberta, next Sunday, the 18th, February 18th at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, this time, a week from tomorrow. So that will be, so I'll be playing a number of tracks. So when you sign up, you'll get on Sunday, you'll get an email with the link that will go live at 3 o'clock Eastern. Anyways, internal, no offense, but shut up about the tracks. I don't know what that means, Matt. What does that mean? Are you talking to me? I hope you're not talking to me. That's what happens if you're talking about me, then you're going to be gone forever. How do you like that? How do you like that? Anyways, what's my favorite vegetable? I don't know. I like a lot of vegetables. Would I ever do a video on Ed Sheeran, Shawn Mendes, or Sam Smith or someone? Yeah, of course. Do I think the loudness war killed rock? I've been getting, somebody sent me some things about the loudness war. Did it kill rock? The loudness war has been going on forever in all different types of music. Did it kill it? No. I don't think it killed it, but it wasn't helpful to it. So, Dill, you didn't just ask me where I got the raw tracks from. So anybody that asks me where the raw tracks from, just rewind the video and you'll see me talk about it. The loudness wars are over. I just had, there's a comment that just said that. One of the reasons that the loudness wars are over is because people aren't consuming. Part of the way that loudness wars affected music was, or why it came to be, is that the same thing what happened with radio stations. Radio stations were trying to be louder than other ones, because when you're going through the dial in the old days, then people would stop on the stations that were the loudest, they would find out. And then bands would figure out that if your song was louder, it would jump out and grab people. At least they thought that. Then you got these hyper overcompressed mixes, which sounded terrible and had no dynamic range and sounded really uninteresting. So anyway, so that's kind of how the loudness wars. And YouTube implemented an algorithm a couple years ago that basically keeps everything around the same volume. Can I do a tutorial on Andy Wallace chorus technique? I'm going to talk about some things like that in my seminar, to be honest with you. I'm going to talk about certain mixers and some of their techniques, because mixing is really part of production nowadays. It's part of songwriting. So my videos, what makes that song great is actually is songwriting, arrangement, and production. So those three things are really integral in this. Somebody asked, do I still use Apple? I mean, yes, I use Apple Hackintosh Apple. Who is my favorite singer? Mike Patton, right? Mike Patton's a good singer. What's up, George? I chose the right song for Nirvana. So I'm not the only one that likes On a Plane. Stratcat, you'd love to see a paid tutorial on orchestral cinematic production and mixing. That will be coming up, actually. Grunge killed rock and roll. Not much left to listen to, Mark says. So I want people to know that this is a temporary thing. I'm going back to my normal videos. I'll probably do one of these things a week, and I'm going to go back to my normal videos that my first 200,000 people that subscribe to my channel expect. By the way, there's a coupon for the Beato book and my YouTube transcription bundle, EM251, 30% off for the next 24 hours. Also, my Advanced Harmonic Concepts, my 2 courses that are in my Beato Music Academy on my website as well. They're all on rickbeato.com. 40% off those courses, and it's the same coupon code, EM251. I'm not going to stop those videos, but I'm going to do, YouTube's algorithm doesn't seem to work on their ads. I don't know what that means, Martin. The Beato Track Isolator plugin, I'm going to, I'm going to debut that. Let's see here. Hackintosh. Yeah, so Martin, Hackintosh. I've had a Hackintosh, I want to say 8 months now. It was after it was right after the video, the Apple rant. I had a dilemma. What's up, Alex? I had a dilemma on what to do because I couldn't go out and I couldn't find an Apple computer, honestly, that had the things that I needed in it or that I wanted in it. That was a reasonable amount of money, because you pay 3 times the amount for an Apple products. That's just that's a reality. You're paying for the name. So Aaron helped me put together a Hackintosh, and Matt, you got kicked out of this. I didn't know if you were what you were responding to. I just muted you for 300 seconds. That was it. I didn't kick you out. It was a that's my favorite thing to do on here is the 300-second timeout. It's like hockey. Anyways, so the wait, what was I just talking about? Oh, my Hackintosh. So is run. I won't say I haven't had any crashes, but I bet I have not had more than 3 crashes in 8 months. Matt was actually asking people to stop questions like that. Go sit in the corner. Penalty box. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. I love that. So personally, it's worked out great for me. I haven't had any problems, but would I recommend it for people? You have to have somebody. I have Aaron, who's been my assistant, and Aaron is he can help me out with any problems, although he hasn't needed to. And the computer doesn't crash. What happens is that a program will get hung up. And I think that I do things that people did out of in the old days. I think it's a holdover for me personally from working on older Macs. That I think that you need to clear out the RAM or something. That like, for example, when I put on if I put on a Spitfire audio plugin, right? And I start building up some type of orchestral mock-up or something like that. It's a PDF only. Why does it say shipping taxes on checkout? It shouldn't say that. I'll fix that right now. So anyways, so sometimes the CPU will get hung up, and it'll say, and it's usually when I'm trying to do something else. It'll be, if I'm, hold on one second. This prayer, no, it doesn't say anything about taxes on here. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. I'm just looking this up here. So a lot of times what I will do is I'll restart the computer. I rarely do it. I mean, I would say probably once every month and a half or something like that, I'll do it. I don't think any more than that. But sometimes those particular sometimes it's really weird. It's hard to say what does it. Sometimes when I'm doing something else at the same time that I am loading a track or something. Let's say I'm loading a virtual instrument and I am moving too fast and I go over and I try and do something else at the same time, and then I'll get the spinning wheel, and then I'll have to force quit. And sometimes you force quit and you come back and the track plays weird. I think it depends. So anyways, I will restart the computer sometimes. Spitfire's a big CPU hit. That's true. It's not as bad as the East-West stuff, though. Rick, what do you mean about producer Mark Hudson? What do you mean? I don't mean anything about Mark Hudson. Have I ever worked with him? No, I've not worked with him. Do I have any Def Leppard stuff? Yes, I do. Definitely have Def Leppard. Did I ever meet Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish? I played in a band with Tim Smith from Jellyfish, and Roger Manning produced our record. So I know a couple of the Jellyfish guys. Let's see here. So interesting. So let's talk about some of these videos, though. Some of these stems, like Tom Petty, for example. How many of you were surprised that watched the Tom Petty video that the hi-hat was programmed? Because I was surprised. I've heard that song many times, and I've never noticed that the program was that the hi-hat was programmed. The kick drum was definitely programmed too, but so you got to think about this logically. All the stuff was done in 87 and 88, the recording. It came out in 89. So we're talking about early drum machines, okay? So the kick and snare, the kick was definitely programmed too. So what he probably did was split out the back of the drum machine and used it as a click track. All the fills you notice are all the same. Well, those are real toms happening for sure, because the way that they hold over. And it sounds like it's a real snare with some type of, obviously gated sound on it. But the kick drum was definitely programmed. The hi-hat was programmed. And the cymbal crashes are real. When you go back and listen to it afterwards, after you've heard it, you realize that. But, so, some people have commented, oh, it would have been better with real drums. No, it wouldn't have. It's great like it is, especially if you didn't notice. What's the difference? Raphael, Oasis is God. I have some great Oasis. Let's see here. Lucky Man, Jonathan. One of the greatest sounding recordings. Do I agree? That particular track is actually really well recorded. That's off Brain Salad Surgery, for those of you that don't know Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That was a record that was mixed by a guy that produced My Old Band and did a disastrous job on My Old Band's record. But he mixed Frampton Comes Alive and he mixed Brain Salad Surgery, which is really amazing. And I talked to him a lot about that. Anyways, he made great sounding mixes back in the 70s, because Frampton Comes Alive is a great sounding record. Anyways, so there's some great Oasis stuff in there. Like I've got Wonderwall, which is very cool sounding. Let's see. Ronch says, Rick, what do I think of thoughts of punk rock? Fugazi, love Fugazi. No Effects, great. Brett, was Lucky Man on their first album? Oh man, did I just screw up? I'm thinking of Brain Salad Surgery. Well, I know Chris. I said his name. Darn it! I know he mixed Brain Salad Surgery. I try never to mention his name. Anyways, so the Deftones anytime soon, possibly. Queens of the Stone Age, definitely. So next Sunday, a week from Sunday, you probably might hear some Queens of the Stone Age. I have a live stream, 2-hour live stream of what makes this song great, where I'm going to be playing stuff that I can't play, that will get taken down. Some really great stuff. You'll hear some Max Martin. You'll hear some heavy rock music, probably like Queens of the Stone Age or Soundgarden, things like that. So that's $10. It's a pay-per-view. You go to my website, $10, like buying an album, old school. Okay, Jim says the ELP album was Tarkus. Was that the first record with Lucky Man on it? Matthias, A Perfect Circle. That was going to be one of the videos this week, actually. I have some Muse. So Matt, the coupon code EM251 for the Beato book, for my YouTube transcriptions, and for my advanced harmonic concepts and mastering modes of the major scale on the Beato Music Academy. Those are my video courses. Everything's on sale. The Beato book and the YouTube transcription books are 30% off, and my courses are 40% off. And these are for the next 24 hours. Please do Plug In Baby by Muse. No, the first album was just self-titled. Okay. Oh, Lucky Man by The Verve. Oh, my God. That's one of my favorite songs. Oh. So Lucky Man by The Verve, not Lucky Man by ELP, was on Urban Hymns. And I bought Urban Hymns probably about 6 times. I love that record, the Verve record that has it has Lucky Man on it. It has The Drugs Don't Work. It has obviously the big hit, which was Sonnet is on it. I love Sonnet, and then dun 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 dun, dun, the one they got sued for, Bittersweet Symphony. Anyways, do I think I might delve into metal? I'm definitely going to do metal, Kyle. My next song that I will do will be a metal song. As far as Steve Vai is concerned, I want to talk to Steve actually about getting a multi-track from him, and doing that. I'd love to do if somebody want to see something with Steve Vai, let me know. You can go to the Beato Music Forum, start a Steve Vai thread, and vote on what song, and then I'll call Steve and I'll ask him about getting the multi-tracks for it so I can make a video on it. I think that would be cool. Kyle, I was going to do Tool. I was going to do it actually this week. I started on Tool video, but it was getting so time consuming because of all the different time signature changes. Oh man. Okay, so I have another thing that I'm going to debut that gets back to the old Beato music channel here, which is what makes this solo great. Okay, this is going to be things like jazz solos, rock solos. This is going to I'm going to do some excerpts of classical music. By the way, I have an interview coming up with Chris Potter, who's one of the greatest saxophonists in the world. I'm doing a sounding off with him on Tuesday. For those of you that are jazz fans, Chris Potter is one of the greatest sax players of all time. So I will be asking him questions, and if you guys want to ask me to ask Chris questions, particular ones, Brett, I saw that. Please put it on the forum. Say questions for Chris Potter. I don't know if you guys have heard his record, which I've been listening to a lot today, called "The Dreamer Is the Dream," which is phenomenal. It's an absolutely beautiful record that you should check out. So I'll be doing a sounding off with Chris, and I'm going to do this "What Makes This Solo Great" series that I've already started working on right now. Some of the stuff is tough because it's, the transcribing of it is not difficult, but some of it's difficult, but the playing of it, me playing along with it, is tough on some of it. I will interview Vinny Colaiuta. Yes, I need to make a note of that. Call Vinny. Vinny, that's no problem. I can get Vinny to do a sounding off. Am I a Foreigner fan? I love Foreigner. Lou Graham is from my hometown, Louis Grammatico. He's a paisan. He's from Rochester, New York. Do I have Alice in Chains tracks? Cocktail Music asks. Yes, I do. Thoughts on Chuck Loeb? Someone asked here. Oh, Stefan asked. I took a lesson with Chuck Loeb, who is, Chuck passed away about 6 months ago or so, and was an incredibly great guy. I took one lesson from him back in 1984 at his apartment in New York, and what a great guy. I still have a cassette of that. And I really like Chuck's playing a lot. TJ, Chris Potter's All the Things You Are solo. So he's got some amazing solos. I was trying to think, because he's got an incredible rhythm changes solo. And I'm trying to think what record that was on. And then all the things you are, where's that from? I was trying to think about where these things are from, because I don't look at album titles now when I'm looking at stuff. Let's see here. What was it Dave Fusinski? Dave Fusinski, I used to play duo gigs with all the time in Boston back in the 80s, in 85, 86. He was a student at NEC when I was there, and he and I used to play together all the time. What are my thoughts of Mick Jones, the producer, and Mick Jones, a musician? He's a great guitar player. George Harrison, something solo. Matt J, Screaming Headless Torsos. Yes, so I knew Dave back when he was, 18 years old. We played together. We played together a long time. Slow it down. Anything that's hard, try it slower. Well, that's what I was going to do anyways. I really want to talk about phrasing a lot. There are some great solos. I was going through some particular solos for this new series. I was working on a tune by Wes Montgomery today that off the Boss guitar called Fried Pies, which is an amazing Wes solo, one of my favorites. I was thinking about doing Keith Jarrett, All the Things You Are solo. There's so many different ones that to do that I'm not sure I can get away with Keith Jarrett. I'm going to have to do a Keith Jarrett test on my second channel tonight to see if they've changed the rules now that YouTube has got a new, they seem to have a new agreement, which is why I think there's got to be a reason why my videos have not been taken down, even though I just had a video taken down that I played Led Zeppelin on. So, that's the that's the only thing about it, is that I got an email yesterday about who sent this to me too, I forget, about here's a list of people that take things down immediately. I don't know if this is true, but Black Keys, Supertramp, Van Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Louis Armstrong, the Eagles, I knew that. Village People, I'm not going to be playing the Village People anyways. Jethro Tull, I would have done Aqualung. Coldplay, I would have done The Scientist or Clocks. Hall & Oates, I love Hall & Oates. And Zeppelin. I know Zeppelin takes things down, and I know the Eagles did. Anyway, so that's... you're welcome to put things like that, solos, on the Beato Music Forum as well, if you have particular solos. Cliffs of Dover, that's been really done a lot to death, so I'm not sure about that. Tom says Lukather would be good to analyze. Lukather, I have some Lukather that I'm going to do, so I'm already all over that. And as far as some of the ones like Dream Theater, honestly, I thought about getting, for this thing, for some of these, I might get John Petrucci. I was thinking about reaching out to John and talking to him about a Dream Theater, maybe having him be part of this, what makes this solo great, and actually talking to him about it as part of the video, and Steve Vai as well. So that's the nice thing about knowing these guys, is that they can be involved in this. And frankly, when I talk to Chris Potter, maybe I'll do a solo of his and have it be part of the series, and I can actually ask him while I'm talking to him. Tom Morello solos. I've got some Tom Morello solos. I got some Rage tracks that I was going to do too. but I'm thinking about doing this. For those of you that tune in next Sunday, you're going to hear some Fleetwood Mac. I definitely have Fleetwood Mac. I was working on a Fleetwood Mac track last night. Anyways, okay, I'm good for today. I have Tool. Yes, Tool is coming. So sign up for my course for my pay-per-view, $10. You'll get an email with a link to the stream next Sunday. We'll send them out in the morning. Aaron's going to be here helping me with it. You guys are awesome. I'll see you. Beato book on sale, 30% off, EM251. My advanced harmonic concept and my 2 courses on my Beato Music Academy are 40% off. Same thing, EM, Everything Music 251. You guys are awesome. Thank you.